Imagine you're walking to work. Same street you always take. Same coffee in your hand. Same shoes, same bag, same routine. The sun is out. People are talking on their phones. A kid on a bike rides past you. Everything is exactly as it should be. And then something changes. Not the sky, not the air, not the temperature. Something deeper than that. Something you've never once felt shift in your entire life. The ground pulls harder. And in that single moment, everything you know about being alive changes forever. Here's what most people done to understand about gravity. We treat it like furniture. It's just there. Always has been, always will be. We don't think about it, we don't feel it, we just live inside it. But gravity is not a constant, it's a force. And forces can change. So what actually happens physically, biologically, structurally if gravity on Earth suddenly doubled? Not slowly. Not over thousands of years the way evolution could adapt. Instantly. One moment, 1G, the next, 2. Here's what the next 24 hours would look like. The first thing you feel is weight. Not heaviness, not tiredness. Weight. Your body, which normally weighs, let's say, 70 kilograms, now effectively weighs 140. In 1 second, your knees buckle. Not because you're weak, because your skeleton was never designed for this. The human body evolved for exactly 1G of gravity. Every bone, every muscle, every tendon built for 1G, tested by 1G, optimized over millions of years for exactly 1G. At 2G, your body is running a system that was never meant to handle this load. Your spine compresses immediately. The discs between your vertebrae, those small cushions of cartilage that keep your bones from grinding together, are suddenly under twice the pressure they ever experienced. People with any existing back problems are on the ground in seconds. But even perfectly healthy people are struggling. Standing upright at 2G is the physical equivalent of carrying another full-grown adult on your shoulders. Every step, every breath, every single movement. Your muscles are burning, your joints are screaming, and it's been less than 30 seconds. Now here's where it gets catastrophic. It's not just people. Everything on Earth just got twice as heavy. Every building, every bridge, every skyscraper that was carefully engineered with very specific load tolerances, lake, is now holding twice the weight it was designed for. Think about what that actually means. Engineers don't build structures to handle infinite stress. They build them to handle expected stress plus a safety margin, usually around 50% above the expected load. That safety margin just got eaten alive. In the first 60 seconds, older buildings start to crack. Not collapse, not yet, just groan. A deep structural groan, the pound of concrete under impossible pressure. Bridges began to sag visibly. The suspension cables on major bridges, those enormous steel cables that hold thousands of tons, are suddenly under loads they were never tested for. And the ground itself, the Earth's crust which floats on a layer of semi-molten rock, starts to respond to the increased gravitational pull. Pressure builds beneath the surface. Fault lines that were stable for centuries are suddenly being squeezed harder than they've been in recorded history. The first earthquakes begin within minutes. Not small tremors, large ones, along every major fault line on the planet simultaneously. 5 minutes in, most people are on the ground. Not dead, not unconscious, just unable to stand. And now your cardiovascular system starts to lose the fight. Your heart pumps blood upward against gravity constantly. That's one of its primary functions. At 1G, it manages this effortlessly. At 2G, your heart is working twice as hard just to push blood from your legs up to your brain. People start feeling lightheaded almost immediately. Vision darkens at the edges. That dark tunnel closing in, that's your brain telling you it's not getting enough blood. The brain, starved of pressure, begins to slow down. Elderly people, anyone with heart conditions, anyone whose cardiovascular system was already under any strain at all, they're in serious, immediate danger. Meanwhile, up in the sky, every airplane currently in flight is suddenly trying to generate twice the lift it needs to stay airborne. Aircraft are not designed for this. Lift is calculated at 1G. At 2G, most commercial aircraft would need to generate roughly twice the thrust just to maintain altitude. Their engines aren't built for that kind of sustained emergency demand. One by one, planes begin losing altitude. Not crashing immediately. Not explosions. Just gliding down, slowly, inevitably, toward the ground. 30 minutes in. The world looks completely different now. The skyline has changed. Several older structures have partially collapsed. Dust clouds hang over every major city on Earth. Rivers and lakes, the water is still there, but the increased gravitational pull has fundamentally changed how it flows. Water moves faster downhill, much faster. Coastal areas are seeing strange, violent tidal surges as the oceans respond to increased pull. Animals are struggling across the entire planet. Large mammals, elephants, giraffes, horses, bison, were already pushing the biological limits of what a body can support at 1G. A giraffe's heart is already one of the most powerful organs in the animal kingdom. It has to pump blood 6 feet upward just to reach the brain. 2G, it simply cannot do it. Giraffes collapse within minutes. Elephants follow. Horses within the hour. Smaller animals, cats, dogs, rodents, they're struggling but surviving. Their hearts don't have to work nearly as hard relative to their body size. Insects largely unaffected. Their exoskeletons are proportionally incredibly strong. Gravity barely touches them. And in the ocean, reed life in deeper water is somewhat protected. Water distributes pressure differently than air. But whales, dolphins, anything that needs to surface to breathe, they're fighting twice the gravity every single time they breach. 2 hours in. If you're young, healthy, and you figured out early July completely flat on the ground, you're probably still alive. Lying flat is the key. When you're horizontal, your heart doesn't have to fight gravity to pump blood up to your brain. Everything is on the same level. Militaries have known this for decades. Fighter pilots black out during high G maneuvers because blood drains from their brains toward their feet. Their G-suits physically squeeze their legs to push that blood back upward. Without a G-suit at sustained 2G, the only solution is the same one your body figured out in the first minute. Get horizontal. Get low. Don't try to stand. The people who understand this, they survive. The ones who keep trying to stand, keep trying to move normally, keep trying to help others while upright, their hearts give out. And the world's infrastructure is deteriorating rapidly now. Power lines are snapping under their own increased weight. Transmission towers are buckling. Water pipes buried underground are cracking as the earth shifts and compresses around them. Cities are going dark, one by one, block by block. But here's the question nobody asks. What if it stopped? What if, somehow, after 24 hours, gravity returned to normal? The immediate relief would be extraordinary. People who have been pinned to the ground for hours would suddenly feel weightless. Not actually weightless. Just normal. But after 24 hours at 2G, normal gravity would feel like floating. Like someone lifted an invisible ocean off your chest. The structural damage would remain. The collapsed buildings, the broken bridges, the cracked water mains, the fault lines that shifted. The human cost, conservatively, hundreds of millions dead. Not from the gravity itself directly, from the cascade. Heart failures in the first hour. Plane crashes, building collapses, hospitals offline, no clean water, no power, no emergency response. Hundreds of millions of people who needed medical attention and couldn't get it. One force, twice as strong. 24 hours. And human civilization, everything we built over 10,000 years, would need generations to recover. We live at the bottom of a gravitational well. 1G. Exactly enough to hold a breathable atmosphere around our planet. Exactly enough for our hearts to pump blood to our brains. Exactly enough for our bones to carry our weight without breaking. Exactly enough for liquid water to stay liquid on the surface. Not more, not less. Change that number even slightly, and none of this exists. No oceans, no atmosphere, no life. The universe is calibrated to a degree that should genuinely stop you in your tracks. Or, depending on how you look at it, fill you with something that feels a lot like wonder. Gravity held you in your seat while you watched this. It held the air around you. It held the water in your body. It held this planet in orbit around the sun. And you never once thought about it. Until now.